Okay, well,
Lola was saying, Lola was so still. I thought it was a picture.
Welcome everyone. In preparation for the start of early voting on February 10th, UTC's Mocs Go Vote Committee has asked City Council candidates to speak with high school and UTC students about Chattanooga, hopefully answering their questions and hopefully sharing their vision for the future of Chattanooga. And joining us today, we have Mr. Alan Holman, candidate in District 5. And so you have a few minutes to introduce yourself, and then we will have Lola and Layla ask you a few questions.
My name is Alan Holman. I'm affectionately called AJ with a lot of my friends. I'm a pastor in Chattanooga. I pastor 2 churches. I've been pastoring one for 12 years. That's Bethel AME Church in Churchville. And this year I was also assigned to Joseph Chapel, which is over in Bozentown. And I've been pastoring for 44 years in total. I've lived in 12 states. I'm married. My children are grown. Grandchildren are practically grown. So I'm familiar with college life. I went to Bishop College in Dallas, Texas. It's an HBCU. In fact, they closed in 1988, but Paul Quinn College bought their campus, and all of the transcripts and everything are handled through them. I'm willing to answer any questions that you may have.
Great, thank you.
cool.
Layla, would you like to start?
My first question is just simply, what is your why? Why do you feel that you're qualified to run for this position?
Well, in pastoring for 44 years, I've learned to network with different cultures of people, different races, different sexes, different classes, different ages. And I've learned their concerns. I've learned to be compassionate with their concerns. I've learned to be empathetic with their concerns. And I want to be an agitator, so to speak, for the status quo, the powers that be. And I want to be an agitator for my constituents. And I want to be a builder to where I can empower people with little or no self-esteem. I want to be a buffer to where I can, that would be the agitating part, to stand on behalf of my constituents. And I want to be a bridge to bring my constituents to the resources that are available to them for whatever the situation may be.
Okay, sounds good. And so I had a question prepared, but I heard about your background as a pastor for such a long time, and I'm sure that it was bound to have some kind of influence on the way that you feel you could lead politically and in your community. And so how do you think that your experience as a pastor has influenced the way that you would lead your community and your constituents?
Well, I believe that, Aristotle once said that you must choose the best leaders to govern. And he said, respect the right for everybody and work for the good of those that are in your area, and also uphold the middle class. And the rule of law means that you're going to guard against tyranny, and don't be a part of the problem or the cause of the problem, be a solution for the problem. In pastoring, I've learned to mentor. In fact, in one of my churches, we have about 30 children that we have mentored. And when I say children, I mean ages 4 all the way up to 24. And we've nurtured them. We've prayed with them. We've went to the jail down to stand on their behalf, especially when they were not guilty of a situation. I want to be able to speak to City Hall, speak not only to City Hall, but to the county and to the state and to the nation as it relates to the concerns that we have here. I want to be able to correct a chaotic situation and bring order. And I think I can do that even from my pastoral experience. 44 years is a long time.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Oh, Lola, did you want to speak?
No, please go ahead.
Okay, so as you kind of touched on you mentoring youth, I want to ask you, what issues do you see with youth district, and what would you like to bring to our district? What programs or anything to help the youth?
Well, one of the problems is the educational system is kind of warped to me. They're limited. They're only geared toward a certain culture or to a certain area. There are a lot of young people that may not be college material. They may need to take up a trade so they can work on maybe a manufacturing job or some type of factoring job. Use their skills because they have a lot of skills. They're skilled with their hands, and they're able to articulate with their minds, but they may not be able to do it verbally. So I think we need training for that. We need to train young people who want to go into law enforcement so they will be able to work in their communities to where the community is not intimidated by them and they're not intimidated by the community.
Wow, that's really important.
Lola, do you have a follow-up? Or
I do have a question, but he has 1 minute. So should I still ask?
we've got a little bit more time.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, 5:40. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, so in your opinion, thank you for your previous response, sir. In your opinion, what does it mean for the average citizen to be heard?
It means everything. It means everything for our city. It means everything for our community. The city council persons and the mayor, they cannot act on something they don't know anything about. It takes the community to inform them as to the needs that they have in their particular areas. For example, the crime rate is outrageous per capita for Chattanooga. It's almost like the major cities. Like I said, I've lived in 12 states. And I've seen crime rates sky high. But here in Chattanooga, it's worse when you look at it a per capita situation. And it's not always a cultural or racial situation. There's a way that we can change this dilemma. First of all, give some of these young people something to do that is constructive. Because, scripturally, where it says, an item is the devil's workshop. If you don't give them something constructive to do, they're going to try to find something to do. And we need to mentor them and build their esteem, their self-esteem. Build the families. My motto is building relationships, build families.
Okay, so as you said, your motto is building relationships. What do these relationships echo? How would you like to build these relationships?
Well, say for example, I need to be an example. I need to know all of the neighbors in my neighborhood. I need to communicate with them. We need to develop relationships, not only in our neighborhood, we need to develop relationships even with our families. There's so many families that don't even communicate. You have family members that they spend all of their time in different rooms and they don't communicate with each other. Old school, we used to have a dinner and everybody would be at the table and they would communicate about their day and all of these kinds of things. We build these kinds of relationships. Also, if I'm on the city council, I'm going to have a relationship with the police chief. I'm going to have a relationship with the sheriff. I'm going to have a relationship with the mayor. I'm going to have a relationship with all of those elected officials. So when my constituents ask for something, they will have a relationship with me and we can fix the problem. I don't want to walk into their office like I'm a stranger or just another elected official or just another name. I want to be a human being representing human beings.
I think that's really important, a human being representing other human beings. Okay, so my next question for you is, in what ways have you reflected upon and analyzed any biases that you may have, and how did they affect your ability to be a leader? How do they affect your ability to be a leader? And how do you plan to use said reflection in order to make you a more capable and equitable leader?
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed the first part. I was.
Yes, I can repeat it. In what ways have you reflected upon and analyzed any biases that you may have, and how have those and how can they affect your ability to become an efficient leader? And then my follow-up was, how do you plan to use this reflection to be a more equitable and capable leader for your community?
Well, I constantly look at myself in the mirror. I use the scripture from one of the Corinthian books that says, let a man examine himself. And we use that old scripture from 2 Chronicles 7:14 that says, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves, pray and seek his face and turn from their wicked ways, then he'll hear from heaven and heal our land. The thing is, we have to look at self. If I have a bias, and I'm sure I do, but I try to squash them before it tears me down. I don't want to look at somebody and prejudge them. I'm not hung up on all of those sociological names or what have you. I don't look at a person and judge them because of either the color of their skin or because of what they're wearing or because of their hairstyle or because of their neighborhood. We need to get rid of these, I would say, sociopathic sicknesses.
Do you have another question, Layla? If not,
we probably have one more time for one more question.
Okay, so my last question is, we'll take on the social economic gap in our city.
Socioeconomic. Well, when I look at, and they just passed the budget, and I look at the different allocations in the budget, and I sit there and I look at 9 different seats on the city council that vote on this budget. I'm concerned about our voices before we get to the council meeting. I'm concerned about our voices in the community before I get to the meeting. I think it's very important that when we communicate with our constituents, make sure that they know what's coming down the pipe, whether it's a development, whether it's a zoning, whatever the situation is. They need to know ahead of time so they can share with me what they prefer me to vote up or down. I think the whole country has a sickness economically, because it seems like the haves are abusing the have-nots. And that's always been, and it's not always a racial thing, cultural thing. And that's what we have to recognize. It's a cultural thing. For example, the police department, people are talking about defunding the police. Well, I have my reservations about that, because the police need funds to operate. Just allocate the funds in the proper places. Hire police officers, hire the police officers that live in your neighborhood. If they don't qualify, put some training out there and get these young people, clear up their records, clear up their credit, help them to be able to buy houses, whatever the issues. And when somebody goes for an interview and they bring their, you still there?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, my video went off. But the thing is, we have to really, okay, I see what happened. I'm sorry. We have to really make sure that we're represented, that everyone is represented. And as I was saying, on the police department, you train them, assign them to their areas, give the young people, I know what I was saying now. They was clear up their credit, clear up their background, train them how they can buy a home, how they can, and when they rent, how they can take care of their apartments and have pride in their things. So people don't prejudge them and say, well, I don't want a Section 8 person living in my property because, those are the kinds of things I like to clear up. I hope that answered your question.
It did. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you. We want to, again, thank you for your time. We appreciate you taking the invitation. You've got 1 minute left if you want to make a closing to the youth of your district in Chattanooga.
Well, I hope we can collaborate all over the city. You know, I've been down to the campus several times. I live up here and like off of 58 Highway, but it shouldn't matter where we live. I will represent the whole Chattanooga, even though my constituents are here in the 5th district. I think whatever I do in the 5th district should be able to impact the whole city. So I appreciate you setting up this platform for me to speak.
You're welcome, and we thank you, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Stay safe.